You found yourself here today, not by accident, but by intention, perhaps even divine appointment. There is something stirring in your heart, a restlessness, a longing for clarity, for truth, and maybe even for love. A deep love, the kind that transcends mere emotion and speaks the language of your soul. You've clicked on this video because you're wondering, are the signs in my heart from God? Could this be about my soulmate? You may feel uncertain. You might even feel a little foolish for believing that the universe, or God, is trying to get your attention. But let me tell you a story, one from my younger days, before the monastery, when I too was searching for answers in the silence of my own heart. Before I took my vows, I was a young man burdened with questions. I had fallen deeply in love, not once but twice, and both times I mistook emotional intensity for divine confirmation. I prayed, I fasted, I waited for signs, numbers, dreams, repeated names, and yes, I received them. But here's the wisdom I didn't yet have. Not every sign is a signal to move forward. Some signs are warnings cloaked in beauty. You see, just because something or someone feels significant doesn't always mean it's your soulmate. Sometimes it's your soul trying to wake you up. Now, listen closely, because this is where many of us miss it. Divine signs are often not dramatic. They are subtle, steady, and peaceful. They don't ignite anxiety. They calm it. They don't leave you confused. They offer clarity. When God speaks to your heart, it's not with noise. It's with stillness. And if the person you're drawn to makes you feel unworthy, anxious, or constantly uncertain, that is not the whisper of heaven. That is the echo of your own unhealed parts crying out for attention. Let's pause here. Ask yourself, do I feel at peace when I think of this person? Do they encourage the best in me without even trying? Is my spirit calm or chaotic in their presence? These are not romantic questions. These are spiritual questions. Because love, true love, is not chaos. It's not adrenaline. It's not fear, masked as passion. True love is a garden tended by stillness, nurtured by truth, and watered by mutual presence. I remember once, while meditating under this very Bodhi tree, I saw a pair of birds. One was dancing in circles, showing off, loud, desperate to be noticed. The other was silent, content, and simply watching. And yet, it was the second bird that stayed. It didn't try to impress, but it stayed. That's when I learned. Real connection doesn't demand performance. It invites presence. So if you're experiencing repeated dreams, symbols, or coincidences pointing you toward someone, stop and reflect, not just on the sign, but on your own inner state. What is your soul really asking for? Is it companionship, or is it healing? Because sometimes we mistake the desire for love with the need for self-acceptance, and until we are whole in ourselves, we'll misread signs meant for growth as signs meant for romance. Many people ask me, but what if God is sending me signs and I'm missing them? I tell them this: you cannot miss what is truly meant for you, but you can delay it by chasing what isn't. Your soulmate will not just match your energy, they will match your purpose. They will not distract you from your path. They will illuminate it. And sometimes, before they arrive, you must walk the hardest roads alone to become the kind of person who is ready for sacred partnership. So, ask yourself again, are these signs affirming the presence of another person? Or are they drawing your attention inward? Because here's a secret most people never tell you. Sometimes the soulmate you're waiting for is you. But don't worry, we'll explore that more deeply on the next page. For now, take a breath. Let the words settle like dust on still water. The signs are real, but so is your readiness to receive them, and that's where we go next. Welcome back, dear one. You've taken that breath. Maybe you've even paused the video, sat in silence, or just closed your eyes for a moment. That stillness you feel, that is where truth lives. And now, we continue. In the first part of our time together, we asked whether the signs in your life are truly divine or just reflections of your own longing. That's an important question. But today, let's go deeper into what it actually feels like when the soul speaks through signs, not from fear, not from fantasy, but from faith. You see, signs from God don't only arrive in dreams or symbols. They often show up in your own growth, in the way you respond to life. That's the deeper sign. That's the one we often overlook because it's not as flashy, it's not romantic, but it's powerful. Let me share a story. Years ago, there was a woman who came to the monastery. She wasn't seeking to become a nun. She was seeking peace. She told me about a man she believed was her soulmate. She had seen signs everywhere. His name in books, on license plates, in conversations. She even dreamed of him regularly. But every time they spoke, he left her more confused than clear, more anxious than anchored. I asked her, "And how do you feel when he's not around?" She said, "Lost." Then I asked, "And how do you feel when you're alone with God?" Said, "Empty." That, I told her, was the real sign, not of a soulmate, but of a soul calling for healing. You see, the greatest sign from God is often silence, not because God has abandoned you, but because He is inviting you to listen more closely. When we quiet the noise of desperation, of expectation, of obsession, we finally begin to hear the whisper of wisdom, and that whisper often says, "Before you seek your soulmate, seek me. Before you chase the one, become the one." Before you look outward, look inward. So many chase relationships thinking someone else will complete them. But that is not love. That is dependency in disguise. A true soulmate will not fill your emptiness. They will complement your wholeness. They will not fix your wounds. They will honor your healing. Let me be clear. Your longing for companionship is not wrong. In fact, it is holy. But it becomes a burden when we ask someone else to do what only God or inner alignment can accomplish. Do you know what one of the most divine signs is? Peace. Deep, undisturbed peace. When God is truly involved in bringing two souls together, the union will be marked by peace, not pressure, clarity, not confusion, alignment, not obsession. Have you ever sat with someone and felt no need to perform, no anxiety to impress, no fear of judgment? That, dear one, is sacred. That is spiritual resonance. And yet, we often overlook such people because they don't trigger our wounds, they heal them. And to an unhealed heart, healing often feels boring at first, because it's not chaos, it's not dramatic, it's not adrenaline-fueled passion, but it is safe. And it is God-sent. One of the greatest signs that someone is truly meant for you is this: you become more of yourself around them, not less. So now, let's pause again and reflect. Ask yourself, who am I becoming in this connection? Do I feel closer to peace or further from it? Am I chasing this person because of divine conviction or emotional addiction? These are not easy questions, but they are the questions that lead to truth. And the truth is this: sometimes God sends signs not to confirm your desires, but to correct your direction. You may have been praying for a partner, but God is answering with patience. You may have been asking for a soulmate, but God is offering solitude, not as punishment, but as preparation. In the silence of your waiting, something sacred is unfolding. Your soul is learning to breathe again, to trust again, to return to its own rhythm, unshaken by the presence or absence of another. And when that inner harmony is restored, you'll notice something beautiful. You no longer need signs. Because you've become one, a sign of peace, a sign of presence, a sign of purpose. And that, beloved soul, is when your soulmate will arrive. Not because you were seeking, but because you were becoming. But this journey isn't over yet. There's more to uncover, more truths, more stories, more sacred wisdom. Because next we'll talk about how to truly prepare for the soulmate God has planned for you, how to align your life not just for love, but for divine timing. Let us walk this path together, one page, one breath at a time. There's a beautiful truth I've learned on this long, winding journey of solitude and stillness. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So, if you seek a love that is patient, become patient. If you long for someone who is kind, cultivate deep kindness. If you pray for a soulmate who understands your heart, begin by understanding your own. This is the part of the path many people try to skip: preparation. We ask the universe, or God, to send us someone whole, but we forget to offer that same gift in return. We want presence, loyalty, and integrity, but we hesitate to build those things within ourselves. When I first came to the monastery, I believed spiritual life meant renouncing relationships. But over time, I saw it differently. True renunciation isn't about avoiding love, it's about purifying it. And in that process, I realized that love is not found. Love is built. Love is invited. Love is received when we're truly ready to hold it with reverence. Let me tell you a story of one of our younger monks, Brother Nayan. Before taking his vows, he came to me troubled. There was a woman he had loved for years before joining the monastery. He believed she was his soulmate. He said they shared everything: dreams, values, silence. But she chose another path, and he chose this one. One morning, while sweeping the temple steps, he asked me, "How could someone feel like my soulmate if she wasn't meant to stay?" And I told him, "Because soulmates don't always arrive to stay. Sometimes they arrive to stir something." We must stop thinking of soulmates only in romantic terms. A soulmate is any soul that touches yours so deeply, it causes you to grow in love, in truth, in awareness. Some stay, some pass through. All leave a mark. Now let's speak of readiness. True. Readiness for divine partnership is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Alignment with your values, with your purpose, with your inner peace. How do you know you're ready? You stop chasing. You stop begging for signs. You begin being the sign. You live your truth so loudly that the one meant for you will hear it without noise. You walk your path so clearly that they will recognize you not by your face, but by your light. And when they arrive, there will be no battle. There will be no manipulation. There will be no fear. Just two souls who have done the work separately, finally meeting to walk together. But don't misunderstand me. Divine partnership still takes work. It requires humility, patience, forgiveness, and discipline. But when two whole souls unite, the relationship becomes not a place of escape, but a place of elevation. So instead of asking, "When will they come?" ask, "Who am I becoming while I wait?" Because in the waiting, you are not wasting time. You are building a home inside yourself, so when love arrives, it has a place to rest. And if you're already in a relationship, let this be your reminder. Is this love calling me deeper into truth? Or deeper into distraction? Is this connection watering my spirit or withering it? The greatest preparation for divine love is not changing for someone else, but returning to your truest self. I often tell my students, don't seek someone to complete you. Seek someone who celebrates your completeness, and if that person hasn't come yet, rejoice. You have more time to become the person they deserve too. As we move into the next part of our journey, I'll share the practical ways we prepare for this divine love, not just in prayer and meditation, but in how we show up to life, how we build our emotional foundation, and how we align with the seasons of God's timing. But for now, walk with this thought. Perhaps the signs you've been receiving aren't pointing you toward someone else. Perhaps they're pointing you home, to yourself. It's good to see you here again, dear one. That you've stayed with me this far tells me something beautiful about you. You're not just looking for answers. You're learning how to listen, and that, listening, is one of the most overlooked preparations for divine love. Many people think preparing for their soulmate means getting everything perfect. The perfect body, the perfect job, the perfect aura. But let me share a truth that years of silence and inner work have taught me. The heart that is most ready for love is not the one that has perfected its image, but the one that has purified its intention. So today, let us speak of true preparation. How to align yourself, not with fantasy, but with divine timing and purpose. Let me begin with this. Preparation is not passive. It is intentional surrender. It's showing up every day and choosing to water the garden of your own soul, even if no one else is watching. It's speaking to yourself with the same kindness you hope to one day receive from another. It's building a life so rich in presence that love becomes an enhancement, not a rescue. When I was a novice monk, I had many duties: sweeping floors, cooking meals, tending the temple grounds. I once asked my teacher, "Why must I do such small tasks when I seek such large wisdom?" He smiled and said, "Because the one who is faithful with the small will be faithful with the sacred." And I've never forgotten that. If you want to prepare for sacred love, begin with sacred discipline. Wake with purpose. Speak with gentleness. Work with intention. Heal without haste. Love doesn't find you when you're flawless. Love finds you when you are present. And presence comes from mindfulness. Let me offer a small but powerful practice. Each morning, ask yourself 3 questions. What can I release today that no longer serves me? What truth do I need to walk in more fully? How can I love myself as I would want my partner to love me? These aren't just affirmations, they're alignments. Because when you walk in truth, you start attracting truth. When you show up in love, you begin to resonate with those who are anchored in love. And when you stop running from your own reflection, your soul begins to recognize its counterpart more clearly. Now let's talk about emotional readiness. You can be spiritually awake, but emotionally guarded. You can know God's promises and still push people away because your heart is still carrying old stories. Stories of betrayal, of neglect, of heartbreak. And so part of preparing for a soulmate is healing your narrative. I've seen it over and over. Souls who pray for new love but haven't yet let go of the shadows of old pain. That pain, if left unhealed, becomes a lens that distorts even the purest connection. It causes us to expect abandonment, sabotage trust, or chase intensity, instead of intimacy. Dear one, hear me now. Your soulmate is not your therapist. It is not their job to heal you from your past. It is your sacred responsibility to meet them with an open heart, not a bleeding one. And no, this doesn't mean you must be without wounds. We are all carrying scars. But wounds become wisdom when you tend to them with care. They become stories of resilience, not shame. So how do we begin to heal? Start with forgiveness. Not always for others, but for yourself. Forgive yourself for staying too long. Forgive yourself for loving too deeply without reciprocity. Forgive yourself for confusing chemistry with connection, because when forgiveness flows, freedom follows. Freedom to love again. Freedom to trust. Freedom to open without fear. And here's something most people forget. The version of you that your soulmate is waiting for is not the perfect version. It's the true one. The one who laughs deeply. the one who cries openly, the one who dares to sit with their fears and still shows up with love. And if that sounds like a long journey, that's okay. Love is not a race. It's not something you earn by doing more. It's something you align with by becoming more of who you really are. So be patient. God's timing is not slow. It is precise. If something hasn't arrived yet, it's either not ready or you're still in the sacred unfolding. In the next part of our journey together, we'll explore how to recognize divine timing, how to know when it's truly the moment when it's time to open the door, and how to welcome love without fear or resistance. For now, I leave you with this thought. Maybe the waiting is not a punishment. Maybe it's the final polishing before the masterpiece appears. We have come a long way together, haven't we? You and I on this quiet journey through words, through stories, through reflection. The journey is never linear, but one of unfolding. Like the morning mist that rises to meet the sun, so too does wisdom rise slowly, softly, until one day it's clear that all along, the signs have been there. Today, we reach the final part of our conversation, a step closer to understanding the ultimate truth of divine love and soulmates. You may wonder, after everything we've discussed, what is the next step? How do you truly recognize divine timing? How do you know when the moment has arrived? Let me tell you something profound. You already know. Your soul already knows. When the time is right, the universe, God if you will not just send you signs. It will send you clarity. There is no mistaking it. There is no confusion. There is no anxiety in divine timing. In fact, the moment you meet your soulmate, or when you finally open your heart to them, it will feel like coming home. You will feel a deep sense of rightness, like everything has aligned, not in an explosive way, but in a quiet, knowing way. I've had many students ask, but how do I know for sure? How can I be certain? And I always answer them the same way. Divine timing is not about certainty. It's about trust. When you trust, you stop forcing. You stop rushing. You stop needing signs to come with flashing lights. Divine love enters when you can simply be. Now, you might still feel that itch, that pull, that urgency to move forward, to grasp, to hold on, to ensure everything is happening in the right way. And that's natural. Our human nature longs for certainty, for control. But remember this, divine timing does not happen on your schedule. It happens on God's. And there is beauty in this. There is peace. There is freedom. For example, I remember a time when I thought I had missed the signs completely. I was certain I was too old, too distant from the world, too committed to my spiritual life to experience love the way I once dreamed. I began to let go of the idea of partnership altogether, but that is when the most beautiful thing happened. I fell in love with life again. I stopped focusing on what I didn't have and began pouring my energy into what I could give. I stopped waiting for someone to complete me and realized that life was complete in its own right. It was in that moment when I least expected it that I met someone whose spirit mirrored mine. And the connection, when it finally came, was so effortless, so natural, that it felt as though we were two souls who had been walking toward each other all our lives. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rushed. It was peaceful. It was gentle. And it was perfect in its timing. Divine love will always find its way to you when your heart is open, your mind is quiet, and your spirit is aligned with truth. So let me ask you, dear one, are you open? Are you truly present? Are you willing to trust that divine timing is unfolding exactly as it should? Trust the unfolding. If love hasn't arrived, trust that it's being prepared for you. If your soulmate is still unknown, trust that they are becoming who they are meant to be, just as you are becoming who you are meant to be. When you can trust the journey, you will know exactly when it is time to take that step forward. The signs won't be flashing. They'll be subtle, like a soft whisper in your ear, like a quiet nudge from within. And when that moment arrives, you won't be afraid. You will simply know. True love comes when you stop seeking it in desperation and begin embodying it in every moment of your life. So, in these final moments, I leave you with this invitation. If you are still waiting, do not wait in fear. Wait in peace. If you are still searching, do not search with anxiety. Search with trust. And if you are already in love, let it be the kind of love that elevates you, no longer seeking to complete you, but to support the fullness of who you already are. And remember this: a soulmate is not a prize to be won. They are a companion, a mirror, a teacher. They are someone who walks with you, not to fulfill you, but to walk beside you as you grow into the truest, most radiant version of yourself. When you align with your purpose, when you heal your wounds, when you live your life with intention and mindfulness, love will find you. And when it does, you will be ready. Not because you've perfected yourself, but because you've become your truest self. Conclusion. And so, with these words, our conversation draws to a close. But it is not the end of your journey, dear one. The path ahead is full of discovery, of learning, of becoming. And as you walk it, always remember, the greatest love you will ever know is the love that begins with you. So, until we meet again, be present, trust the signs, and know that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Thank you for walking this path with me. May peace and love guide you always. As we come to the end of this journey together, I invite you to pause. Take a moment to let these words settle in. The stillness that surrounds us is not empty, it is full. Full of the lessons we've shared, full of the truths we've uncovered, and full of the potential that lies ahead of you. I know many of you have come to this space seeking answers. Answers about love, about soulmates, about the timing of your life. And through our conversation, I hope you've discovered that the answers were never meant to come from a place of certainty, but from a place of deep trust. Trust that everything, every experience, every moment is shaping you into the person you are becoming. And when the time is right, love, true love, will find you. But remember this, dear one. Love is not a destination. It is a journey. It is not something you chase after, grasp for, or struggle to earn. It is something that flows, that grows, that transforms. And as you prepare for love, you are also preparing for the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. When you cultivate love for yourself, when you honor your own journey, you become a beacon for the love that is meant to come into your life. But this love, this divine connection, is not just about finding the right person. It is about becoming the right person, not just for another, but for your own soul. And as you evolve and grow, the love you seek will evolve with you. So, now, I offer you a few simple thoughts as you move forward in your life. Be patient with yourself. The world will often ask you to rush, to chase, to force. But remember, divine love moves at its own pace. It arrives when your heart is ready. Trust in your journey, and know that you are right where you need to be. Love yourself unconditionally. Everything you long for in another, kindness, patience, understanding, compassion, start by giving it to yourself. It is through this self-love that you open the door to the love you wish to receive. Your heart, when nurtured with love, becomes a magnet for more of the same. Let go of fear and control. Fear has no place in love. It only creates walls, boundaries, and barriers. Let go of the need to control the timeline of your life, the people you meet, and the way love should unfold. Trust that when the time is right, the path will reveal itself. Be present in every moment. Life is unfolding before you, each second holding infinite possibilities. When you are present, truly present, you will begin to notice the signs that have always been there. You will be attuned to the subtle moments, the quiet whispers, the soft nudges that guide you on your path. And when love arrives, you will recognize it without question, without hesitation, because you've been preparing for it all along. Know that you are never alone. Whether or not you have yet met your soulmate, know this: you are already loved. You are loved by God, by the universe, by all that is. And this love is the foundation on which all other love can be built. In closing, my dear friend, I want to leave you with a blessing. May your heart be open, your soul be at peace, and your spirit be strong. May you find the courage to walk your path with grace and trust. And may the love you seek be the love that awakens within you, that you may share it freely with the world. May your life be a reflection of the divine love that resides in all of us. And may you always remember, when you live in alignment with your truth, you will always be guided toward the love you deserve. You are a radiant light. You are worthy of love. And love, my dear one, is already on its way. Thank you for walking this path with me. May peace, love, and wisdom guide you always. This marks the end of our journey together in this series, but remember, your path continues. The journey of love, self-discovery, and personal growth is endless, and every step you take is a step toward becoming the truest version of yourself. Thank you for your time and presence in this sacred conversation. Until we meet again,